My name is Claire, and I'm back to talk with you all about simple machines today. We are going to learn what simple machines are, how they're used on ships like Roseway and every day at home, and finally go on a scavenger hunt around the house to see what simple machines we can find. All you'll need for today is a pencil and paper to record your findings while you explore.
First, let's define what a simple machine is. What comes to mind? You might think, well, it's simple and it helps people do things. And this is pretty much it. A simple machine is a basic device that makes work easier. Now, I'm not talking about your homework. In physics, work is when a force is applied to an object to move it. Simple machines make work easier by changing the direction or magnitude of a force, giving us mechanical advantage. There are 6 types of simple machines. The first is a lever. A lever consists of a lever arm, a fulcrum it rotates on, and a load you're trying to move. When we apply force to our lever arm, notice that our lever changes the direction of the force we apply, pushing it down instead of lifting up, and the magnitude of force we need to apply. It's going to take less effort than if we picked up the box off of the ground without our lever, even though we do need to apply that force over a bit of a longer distance. An example of a lever is the oars on a rowboat. The load is on the paddles, the fulcrum is at the oar locks, and you apply force to the handles when you row. Another example of a lever that deckhands aboard Roseway use all the time is a marlin spike. You might use this to open a shackle that's closed too tightly to open with your hands, but with my spike as my lever arm and the fulcrum right here in the pinhead, I have enough mechanical advantage to get my shackle open. The second type of simple machine is a wheel and axle. It decreases the work required to move a heavy object by decreasing friction. The wheels and axles on a toy car allow you to move it without a lot of force. It takes more force if your car doesn't have wheels. A wheel and axle can also give us mechanical advantage in another way. It actually acts like a lever. When force is applied to the outside of the wheel, it turns around the fulcrum, where the wheel and axle are connected, and results in a greater output of force on the axle. For example, a doorknob works this way. When we turn the outside, the axle inside turns with more force than we applied to the doorknob and allows us to open a door easily. The third simple machine is a pulley. Different types of pulleys allow us to change the direction or magnitude, or both, of the force we apply to an object. You can see that in this fixed pulley, the direction of the force changes. We pull down instead of lift the object up. We can decrease the magnitude of the force we have to apply too by making our pulley movable. Now, it requires only half the force to lift our object up, but we're going to have to pull double the length of rope through the pulley system than we did before. If we want to change both the direction and the magnitude of the force we need to exert, we can use a block and tackle system, which combines a fixed and movable pulley and gives us even more mechanical advantage. Aboard Roseway and other traditionally rigged ships, block and tackle systems allow us to raise the sails. Roseway's mainsail weighs around 3,000 pounds, so the crew needs all of the mechanical advantage they can get. Our fourth simple machine is an inclined plane, which allows us to exert less force to move an object to a different elevation. And although less force is required to move the object, we do have to move it over a longer distance than if we were to lift it straight up. For example, each year Roseway is hauled out of the water for maintenance using a traditional marine railway, a long inclined plane that goes into the water and requires less force over a longer distance than it would to lift her straight up out of the water. The fifth simple machine is a wedge, which is actually 2 inclined planes put together. Wedges change the direction of the force applied to them according to the angle of the planes and can be used to lift an object up or often to split an object in two. A common example of a wedge is an axe used to split wood. The planes that make up the blade direct the downward force on the axe outward to split the wood. The sixth and final type of simple machine is a screw. The threads on a screw are actually a long inclined plane that allows the screw to turn the rotational force, applied from a screwdriver, into a bigger up and down or horizontal force to hold two objects together. Examples include a jar of tomato sauce you can seal really tightly because of the threads on its mouth, or the pin on my shackle, which can close extra tight because of its threads. So our 6 simple machines are a lever, a wheel and axle, a pulley, an inclined plane, a wedge, and a screw. You'll be amazed if you look around your home how many simple machines you use every day. And now it's time to do a little detective work and go on a mission to see how many of each type of simple machine we can find at home.
So grab your pencil and paper and let's get searching.
So I found 12 simple machines total, but I'm not just interested in the total number of simple machines I found. I want to know which type of simple machine I use most often. We're going to use this graph to make it easier for us to see how many of each type of simple machine we found. On the x-axis, you'll write each type of simple machine, and on the y-axis, you'll have the number you found. Now you can fill in your graph. In the first category, levers, I found fire pokers, scissors, a fork, and a spatula, which is 4 total. In the second category, the wheel and axle, I found a doorknob, a toy car, and a pastry cutter, 3 total. In the third category, I found a pulley on the window shades. Fourth, for inclined planes, I found the stairs, which again is 1 total inclined plane. Fifth, a wedge, I found a knife in the kitchen, which is 1 total wedge. And finally, in the screws category, I found a screw and a threaded jar, which is 2 screws total. You can see that of the 12 different types of simple machines I found the most levers. In fact, 4 out of 12 levers means that 1/3 of all of the simple machines I found were levers.
How many simple machines did you find? And did you find more of a certain type of simple machine than others? If you'd like to, let us know and we can compare our results. And stay tuned for the next couple of videos when we are going to be making our own simple machines. Thanks for watching.